Hello and good morning, friends. Today I want to talk to you about how does a house that is really far away from the road end up having public sewer and not be on septic? Let's get into it. So I get asked this every now and again of, well, hey, this house says that it's on public sewer. I'm buying the home. It's probably, 500, 600 feet away from the road. How on earth are they getting public sewer up there? Wouldn't they be on septic? And surprisingly, the answer may not always be yes, they'll be on septic, right? So a normal septic system in our area, you need to have at least 1 acre, right? And you need to have enough space and good soil to actually be able to support a septic system. Now, how is that determined? When you're building the house, you're going to do a thing called a perk test. That's basically to see how well the soil functions, see what type of soil you're working with, see how fast the water dissipates when it's in the soil. And then from there, those measurements will be able to help you figure out what kind of system you need, what size of a system you need, all the good parts that come with it. But sometimes your soil may not be good, right? The soil might suck. And that's when you got to figure out, well, how are we going to address this? And so public sewer might be the best and easiest way to do that. Now, traditionally, with most sewer lines, it's all going to be gravity fed, right? And so what that means is when you flush a toilet, it's all going to kind of work its way down, and then every foot that it's going, the water's just going to keep on pushing based off gravity, right? So if you have basement plumbing, the odds of you having a deep sewer are pretty high, just so you can keep the gravity going. Now, if your distance doesn't work, or let's just say that there's some kind of weird elevation problem on the outside for the geography of the property, now you got to pump it, right? And so generally what they'll do is they'll take some kind of septic tank or some kind of large vessel, put a grinder pump in it, and then they'll actually pump that water up to the sewer. Now, that might be 100 foot, could be 300 foot, could even be 900 foot. It just kind of depends on the situation. But a lot of times these tanks will look very similar to what a septic system would look like, right? So you would have your normal access caps, and then you'd have the same kind of regulations as you would for a normal septic system, where you have to have a manhole riser that's securable, the electrical connections, the pumps, the floats, all the other good stuff that comes with it. Except for, there's going to be a large alarm panel that's going to be on the side of your home, right? And that alarm panel will usually have a little placard, maybe the size of a postcard, right? That would be stuck on it that basically says this is the property of whatever county you're in. And basically that alarm will be there so that way if for whatever reason the pump stops working, you call the county, and when they show up and they come and address whatever's going on, right? These systems are pretty common on the northeast side of Baltimore, like in the Middle River, Essex area. You'll see them in parts of Howard County. You'll see them throughout the state, but they're not super common. Now, the reason why they're not super common is they're actually very expensive for the county to build, maintain, and operate because, again, pumps are expensive, the sewer lines are expensive, and just the general infrastructure of it all is very expensive. There's a lot more moving parts, which means that there's a lot more room for things to stop playing nice and stop working. And whenever that happens, it means you got to pay somebody to go out to address it. So a lot of these systems, they're covered by either the HOA or by paying the sewer bill to the county. It just depends on, do you have community septic or do you actually have public sewer? So these systems are great. They do work. They're not very common, but you will see them from time to time, right? Usually you'll see them in more developed areas that just have some weird topography, like maybe just very aggressive hills or just like a lot of marshy areas. And just a normal septic system wouldn't work, or a normal sewer line wouldn't work because the deeper you go, maybe you're fighting with groundwater, maybe you're fighting with a variety of other things that the county doesn't want to deal with. But it is possible. Basically, to answer the question of how do you address that kind of sewer is if you're too far away and you can't get gravity to work, that's fine. You just put a tank there and you pump it. A lot of the counties will work with you on that. They may make some kind of like agreement where maybe you're responsible for the tank and the pump, or maybe they're responsible for the pump, but you're responsible for the tank. Every system's a little bit different on who's responsible for what. But if you're buying a house that's on this kind of ejector system pump or ejector system sewer line, it's very important that you figure out who you pay, who you're dealing with, and then basically when was the last time it was serviced, so that way you know roughly what you're going to be walking into. It would suck to buy a house and not know. Leave a comment below if you've ever purchased a home that has this kind of sewer line, or maybe your house already has one, right? Maybe you had a septic system, it failed, county told you you're not putting another septic system in, you have to put one of these pumps in. Tell me below, how did that work for you? Generally, I don't see a whole lot of people whenever they have these having a whole bunch of maintenance problems, right? You might get a clog every now and again between the house and the tank, but as long as you're mindful and you're not doing anything stupid, right? Like feminine products, plastic, cigarette butts, rubber ducks, none of that stuff. You shouldn't really have to worry about any of that stuff getting in there and causing any major headaches, right? Most of the time, the county will be responsible for the tank itself, as well as the pump and all of the infrastructure post-pump. And most of the time in our area, the homeowner is responsible from the tank, from the house to the tank. And then, you know, as long as you're not doing anything stupid, you should be fine, just like you would do just with any normal sewer line, right? I hope that you found this informative. I hope that you found this useful. I post videos every day on the world of well and septic. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and until next time, guys.